Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's on DisneyPlus.com. A quick news update for you guys on Disney finally purchasing Hulu. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. So finally, it's happened. Disney has announced that it is now set to finalize the deal with Comcast to get full control over Hulu. This has been going on for years. I have been reporting about this and talking about this situation for so many years. It's finally happening, so let's jump into it. So let's go back to when it all began. So Hulu was a streaming service owned by a number of different companies. Disney had 30%, Comcast had 30%, Warner Brothers had 10%, and Fox had 30%. That was kind of the deal up for many number of years. Then when Disney purchased 20th Century Fox, it upped it to 60%, becoming a majority shareholder. Then AOL Time Warner at the time, Warner Brothers, sold their 10% to Comcast and Disney, resulting in Disney having 66% and Comcast had 33%. They made an agreement at the time that in 2024, Disney or Comcast could then force Disney to buy out Comcast's stake. They set a valuation of a minimum of $27.5 billion for the entire platform, and Disney would then have to give them 33%. And that has been the big issue because over the years, Disney hasn't really been trying to build up Hulu. It decided against doing its international rollout. Instead, internationally, we got the Star Hub. And that's why everything is kind of branded as Star Originals, because they didn't want to build up the value of Hulu. And there was other issues as well going on between the companies, because as you might expect. So in 2024, Comcast finally put it in and said, like Disney, we want to be paid. At that point, they'd had previously agreed back in 2019 that they would have an arbitration system in place where each company would go off and get individual valuations. If they were close together, they could then just make a deal. If they were far apart, they'd have to bring in a third party. So Disney's people, they kind of put in a valuation at basically $27.5 billion. They were like, it's not worth that even, but that's the minimum we can do. Comcast, on the other hand, wanted like 40 plus, they thought it was 40 worth billion. And so they wanted a lot more. And so at the time, Disney paid Comcast about $8+ billion for the kind of the 33% stake based on the minimum of $27.5 billion. And I want to make that clear. There's this kind of weird thing in that like people are looking at how much is being spent. Remember, the value of Hulu was valued at $27.5 billion. And Comcast had 33% of that. So Disney paid them the $8+ billion, and then they had to go off for final arbitration to come up with a final valuation. Well, that valuation has now been agreed. They have now finalized the deal, and Comcast will have to be paid by Disney $438.7 million on top of the previous $8.6 billion that they've spent. So coming in just around $9 billion. So that means the valuation is probably closer to like maybe $28.5 billion. Not as high as Comcast would want. They wanted to get it as high as possible because they wanted more money. Obviously, Disney wanted to pay them less. So this deal is set to be finalized in July, and it's going to have big impacts, I think, on the future of Disney Plus. In a statement from Disney CEO Bob Iger, he says, "We are pleased this is finally resolved. We've had a production partnership with NBC Universal, and we wish them the best of luck. Completing the Hulu acquisition paves the way for deeper and more seamless integration of Hulu's general entertainment content with Disney Plus, and soon with ESPN's direct-to-consumer, providing an unrivaled value proposition for customers." While Comcast also released a statement saying, "Hulu was a great start for us in streaming that generated nearly $10 billion in proceeds for Comcast and generated an important audience for NBC Universal's world-class content. We wish Disney well with Hulu and appreciate the cooperative way our teams have managed the partnership." So let's look there at what Bob Iger said. More integration into Disney Plus from Hulu and also ESPN. I am fully expecting that Hulu will merge eventually into Disney Plus. Now, it could be as soon as this summer, maybe once they've got this deal finalized, they want to get it done for when ESPN launches. Bob Iger's spoken about wanting to do less SKUs. So what would be less SKUs? Disney Plus and ESPN. That'd be a much simpler selling point. Yeah, I think this is going to happen. They've been slowly getting people used to the idea that Hulu content is available in Disney Plus. You've been seeing the Hulu on Disney Plus logos. It's been put on all the promotions. They've been doing that for over 18 months. People are much more used to the concept of having Hulu content in there. That Hulu hub has been available within Disney Plus for all subscribers in the United States for pretty much all of the year. There's been content in there, and they've been kind of getting ready for that. They're going to be using that Hulu content as the main way of providing originals, and I do think it's going to happen. Now, whether or not, as I said, I think it might happen before the launch of ESPN flagship. I could be wrong. It could be another year away. They have been working on this for a number of years. So I think this is going to be a big step forward. There are some other stumbling blocks, what they're going to do maybe with Hulu plus Live TV. That they're currently going through a process of trying to merge that with Fubo TV. So that might be a way of them boosting it over there. Maybe Hulu Live TV just stays on as its own app for a little bit of time until they finalize the deal with Fubo. So it looks like all the pieces are coming together. Getting Comcast out the way is that final step. Also with that, I do think we're going to see more integration of Hulu internationally. We've already started seeing it in Canada. They're starting to use Hulu original like brand logos on some of the promotion stuff. And I think we're going to see more of that. And I am fully expecting for the Star Hub to eventually get rebranded to Hulu. That is because there was another big deal that Disney did with Reliance in India where they sold off Star India. And then that meant Disney Plus Hotstar become Gilo Hotstar, and the Star content all come with that. So I think that, again, all these deals, if you look at all the ones that they're doing, the Comcast deal, the Fubo deal, the ones with Reliance, all of it seems to kind of, if you look at it and go, yeah, this is all about bringing it together. They've also announced recently they're going to be letting some people go, a couple hundred people. A lot of speculation that those are going to be Hulu people because they're not necessarily going to need all of it. Bringing Hulu and Disney Plus together means they can cut back on server costs, advertising costs. They're not going to need as many members of staff. And also just the power of having Disney Plus with all of that content in one place will be much more competition then to Netflix and Amazon. You throw in all the ESPN content, you have got a direct streamer which has everything for everyone. Going to reduce that churn. So I suspect we're going to see some big changes. But yeah, it's finally done. I did post a tweet yesterday of the Ewoks celebrating because, yeah, this is a great deal to finally get Comcast out the picture so Disney can sort out what it needs to do with Hulu, because I personally feel Disney Plus has been on cruise control in the United States while they've been waiting to sort out this Hulu thing, because that is what's going to be bringing all of the original content in, as they've really just scaled back what they're doing with Disney Plus in terms of originals. But let me know what you think of this. Do you agree? Do you not? I'd love to hear your thoughts on what they could be doing with Hulu in the future. Love to hear your thoughts on that. Go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys soon. Later.